Welcome to Meliora's channel, your go-to place for C# and data analysis tutorials, products hands-on demos, and insider secrets to keep you at the cutting edge of innovation. Our goal is to break down complex tech topics to a level that you will easily understand to supercharge your skills. Without further ado, let's jump right in.
Welcome back. In this lecture, we're going to go ahead and look at some joins in SQL. So, what are joins? They are simply a way to combine data from multiple tables in a database based on a related column. And this related column does not need to have the same name across the two tables. So let's go into some types of joins. So the first type of join we're going to look at, which is the default type, is the inner join. And this join returns records with matching values from the two tables. Let's go ahead and look at a query showing this example. So let us take the following query as an example, and let's walk through it. So we have the select portion of the query where we are specifying the columns we want to return from each of the tables. So we have the employee ID, the employee department code, and then the department name, and then the employee salary. I want you to take note of the use of the table names to specify exactly which column we are returning from which table. So we have employee and then .id to tell the MySQL that I want the ID column from this employee data table and then the department name from the departments table. And then we now have our from employee data. So that's the table that we want to get the data from. And then we're now going to use an inner join to specify the other table we want data from. And it's now going to be inner join departments on employee.dep code is equal to departments.dep_id. So these are the two related columns, because if you remember the lectures, what we have in dep_id is the same as what the values we have in employee dep code. And again, you can still, this is a very perfectly valid way to join these two, because we do not have they do not have to have the same name, as I said. Okay, let's see an example. Okay, so this is the query in MySQL. So let's go ahead and run it. And we can see what we get. Okay. So for each of the employee IDs, we have their department code and then their department names and then the salaries of the different employees. You can see some department names come twice because some people, like we said, one employee, there can only be one department, but several employees can belong to that one department. Okay, and with the inner join, we have now effectively joined data from the departments table and the employee data table in these particular columns. Now, I want you to notice something. Just notice the ID, the last ID we have, which is YV1010. And if we remember, we actually have 11, so we have up to YV1011 on this table. So let's go ahead and look at the right and the left joins to now further understand what it actually means when it says only matching records. So moving on to the other type we're going to discuss, this is the right join, which is a type of outer join. So this type of join will return all records from the right table, but only matching records on the left table. So again, we're going to still use that same query we used for the inner join, but the only difference is we are now going to make this a right join instead of an inner join. Okay, and before I go to MySQL and we run this query, it's important that we understand exactly the left and right table they are referring to. Okay, so The table immediately after the from clause is the left table, and then the table specified in the join is the right table. Okay, so that's what they mean by left and right table. Okay, let's go and run this query in MySQL. Okay, so this is the query again. Now we have the right join here, so that's the only difference that we've made. Let's just go ahead and run that. Okay, now just keep in mind what we said was the left and the right table. So this is the left table, employee data, and this is the right table. So it's returning all records from the right table, even if they don't have, and matching records from the left. So for the properties, which is code 600, okay, let me show, let me just do this one again. Select all from departments. So let's just individually run that query, right? And you can see 600 is properties. And currently, we don't have any staff attached to properties. Okay, we only have staff up until 500, which is what we see here. So it's returning properties even though it doesn't have any employee records with properties. Okay? So it's returning all from here and only matching records here. Because we can see all the other information are from the employee data table and they're all null, and but the department name, which is from the departments table, is returning properties. Okay, so that's the right join. Okay, now let's go on to the left join, which is also the other type of outer join. So this is exactly the opposite of the right join that we just saw. So it will return all records from the left table and only matching records from the right. Now just remember the left and right tables. And in this situation, we are going to instead of inner and right, we're going to use left join in the query. Okay, so here we are back in MySQL, and we're just going to go ahead and run the query now with the left join. And beautiful. Now, I want you to now notice Ami, which is the employee with the ID YV1011, is now here. And notice how, if you remember, Ami's department code is actually null. So she doesn't have a department code. So that's why in the inner join, since she didn't have, she was omitted. But now in the and in the right join, even though no employee was attached to department 600, it still came. And now in this situation here, even though she doesn't have a department code, she was still brought up because again, it is all data from here and only matching ones from department. So department, that's why you do not see the properties department name that we saw previously when we did right join. And we now just have Ami here, and these two are null because she doesn't have a department code. So that is what's going on with your left and your right join. Okay, and finally, the last join we are going to look at is the full outer join. This combines all the data from both tables. Now in MySQL, in normal SQL, you can just write full outer join to do a full outer join, but in MySQL, you're going to have to do a union between your left and your right joins to get the full outer join. Okay, so there is the query we are about to run, and you can see it's quite large. So effectively, we are using the left join, and then we are doing a union with the right join, and this is going to give us the full outer join in MySQL. As you can see, both records that neither have matching values are now brought all. So we see this one that happened when we did the right, and then this is what happened when we did the left join with the same exact query with the same table positions and all that. It's also, I think one thing you may also realize now is that you can basically switch the results of the joins left and right by switching table positions. So if we do from department, right join employee data, we're going to get similar results to our left. and as such. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this intro lecture to joins. And there are other ways you can use joins. There are other types of joins, such as cross joins, which gives you the Cartesian product of both tables. There is you can use where clauses to further filter information using your joins. There are so many other ways you can use joins, and there's even intersects, where you can do a join where the common column key is null between two tables and as such. So just watch out for those videos to come out soon. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.